Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to episode 234 of Empty Betters. I'm your host, Harrison Scholes. I'm going to toss it across the screen to my co-host, Mr. Nick Manella. What's going on, my friend?
Not a lot, dude. Not as much as you, Run Forest Run. Congratulations on your personal best for your Richmond Marathon. That was amazing. Sub 4 hours. I don't know how you did that, dude. I would have probably died after the first 45 minutes. But yeah, how are you feeling right now?
Well, one, appreciate that. Don't talk about it on the pod much. Feel like people don't care. But two, yeah, it was a great weekend. Great weekend. Got to have my family there with me. If you follow me on Instagram, you know I've been chipping away at that for a long, long time at this point. So that was a really good feeling. But I do have some funny stories. I don't want to share too many. But I'll get into that after the intros. Some of them you guys might find funny. But enough about me. I'm gonna toss it across the screen to my other co-host up in Wisco, Mac Vogel. What's going on, my friend?
What's up, everybody? I'm doing good. I'm still kind of riding the high of that OV hat trick. Just a real good, solid game against a good team. Feeling good about that. And in other news, the mullet's back too. I don't know if you guys can see, but I've
Whew.
got that cleaned up a little bit. I got a wedding coming up, so needed to look a little cleaner and feels good.
Caps are a full-blown wagon. It's the same story, different day. I feel like every episode it's the same topic. Like, wow, the Penguins suck. Wow, the Caps are so good.
And Harry
TJ
keeps being
Kretz,
like, well, but here's the Caps like next couple games are against really good teams. So like they'll probably come back down to earth, right?
big copium. TJ Kretz, if you're listening to this, I saw your reply tweet to me. He said, "You must hate your life on the podcast because the Caps are so good and the Pens are so bad." I know you're listening, and yes, my phone blows up every night. It's like Protus is so good. McMichael is gonna make Team Canada. Strome is on pace for 100. I'm like, I get it, I get it,
That
but
we're just like we're making it back, like all the times that like Mac and I had to like wake up and go to middle school or elementary school and just be like ridiculed by that one Penguins fan that
Yeah,
like we all
yeah,
knew in school. It's all worth it right now.
it is.
you know what? I saw this on Twitter, and we'll start off the episode with this. It does make you kind of like think as a Pens fan how much shit I have given some of my Caps fans friends over the years about like, oh, Crosby has three, Ovi has one, blah blah blah. And then you realize when you have a shit team that it really is not a one man show, and that really has no bearing on anything. Like it's the total team sport. And man, we are in a dark age right now, and it's tough to watch. It's hard.
It's amazing. I think, we've said this on the show, Mac and I, already this year, probably 4 or 5 times, but like the Caps passing is night and day improved. And I feel like the Penguins passing just completely went to hell. And it's like once that goes out the window, there's almost nothing you can do. Like even if you do
Yeah.
have a guy like McDavid or a guy like McKinnon, like you said, it's just one person.
Yeah, it's not pretty. We'll get into it all in a little bit. But yeah, so we do have an interview on today's episode. For the second time, we were joined by Mr. Patrick Geary, Michigan State defenseman, also newly drafted Buffalo Sabre, went in the sixth round of this year's draft to Buffalo, his hometown team. We literally just finished up our interview with him. So we're actually going to start off the episode with that, and then we'll do the news, gambling discussion, and all that afterwards. But before we toss it off to Patrick, we have a message from our friends over at Gametime.
Absolutely, we do. You guys know there's nothing like watching hockey live, the chill of the ice, the sound of the puck, and screaming for your favorite team. Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play live even easier. I got my Caps tickets for this week on Game Time, and now you can too. Game Time's deals make it easier to find the best prices on the best seats, and you can even see a panoramic view from your seats before you pay. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time Picks. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code THPN for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and use code THPN for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time.
Gametime. All right, we're going to toss it off to Patrick now. Thanks.
All right, everyone. It's now my pleasure to welcome back onto the Empty Betters podcast, Mr. Pat Geary of the Michigan State Spartans. Pat, what's going on, man?
Not much. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, of course. So, you guys are red hot right now. Second ranked team in the country. You guys are 9-1. You've won eight straight. I mean, what's going right? I know that's kind of like a crazy question to ask, but I mean, it seems like everything's kind of firing right now.
Yeah, I think after the first weekend, we kind of refined ourselves, and then we had to play BC, so that was a big test for us, and we kind of got dominated the first game. We lost the first game, and it was the first of the season for them. So we kind of were hoping to steal that one. Thought they were going to get nervous or whatever, but they came out, won that one, and then we won the second one, which was huge. And then honestly, we found our game in that BC game. We were firing, we were all over them, and that's I think where we found our game, and I think we're going to try and stick with it for as long as we can.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we all knew how good that team was last year. Obviously, they had some guys go pretty high in the draft that are now playing in the show. But I mean, just from someone who's played in games against that team, what does it take to beat them on a night in, night out basis?
It's tough. I mean, it's very tough. You got to be disciplined, one, because their power play is number one in the country, and I expect it to be pretty much for the whole year. They got some stacked power play, so I think it's being disciplined. And then I don't know, we like to think the Hockey East is pretty soft. So I mean, I think it's just roughing and toughing with them. Make it hard against them, especially their best players. I mean, you get under their skin, it helps our advantage for sure.
I'm always curious, like, I mean, I guess take BC as example, team with a bunch of, individual star power. When you're going up against that, are you guys like worried about specific guys like Ryan Leonard or whoever else? Or are you just kind of like next shift up, doesn't matter who's out there sort of thing? Like, are you guys looking for matchups like that or not so much?
I would say yes and no. I think you got to know when they're out there for sure. You got to kind of have your head on a swivel, but I don't think it's not in the back of my head, at least when they're out there. I mean, I know that they're out there. I know the type of plays they can make, but I think it's just being that much more dialed in with what you're doing and going into the corners hard with them. Like, it's just making it tough for them to make it easy for us.
Want to talk about your goalie, and I know in the last interview we probably talked about him a little bit too, but we were talking before the show started, and we saw some power ranking graphic. I think it was Everything College Hockey who posted it, ranked number one in the country right now. Trey Augustine. What are your thoughts on his performance so far?
Yeah, I mean, he's unbelievable. I mean, it's crazy, and it's the most annoying thing to have to go to practice and just know, like, if he's against you in a drill, it's like he's gonna win the drill. So he's unbelievable. I mean, he gives us so much confidence, like for forwards and defensemen, like so much confidence knowing that like he's back there. It's like you could go make a mistake and like Trey will have your back, like kind of no matter what. Like, and that's kind of how I see it too. So yeah, I mean, he's unbelievable. He's so calm in net, and he just brings a whole different like calmness towards team when we see him in like big moments, just like not even flinch, like doesn't even care that he just made the craziest save in the world. But it's just like it's just Trey. I don't know. He's so funny to describe, and he's the greatest kid too. He's the greatest friend and teammate. So yeah, he's been awesome for us, and that's a big reason why we're good right now for sure.
One of the things I think we all love about Big Ten hockey is it's kind of like the same way that Big Ten basketball or Big Ten football, for the most part, is where anyone can beat anyone on any given night. I mean, there's so many just stacked programs in that conference. You guys have to play them. I think it's like what, once, if not twice. So when it comes down to going up against like Minnesota's and Ohio State's and Wisconsin's, what's the mindset that you guys take, into those back-to-back games to stay sharp?
Yeah, I mean, I think going into each weekend, it's kind of sweep or it's a bust for us. I mean, we're looking to sweep every weekend, and it's worrying about Friday's game, and yeah, we get that win, then it's like, okay, yeah, now we go sweep, now we do the job we want to do. But yeah, I mean that's why I came to the Big Ten. It's just because every weekend it's a hit or miss. You never know who could win. Anybody could win on a given night, and that's why I believe it's the best conference in college because even 1 through 8, like the eighth team could still beat any other team in the country. Like we're very deep in the Big Ten, and I don't know. I like going into the weekends. It's just like each shift, each game. You kind of don't really look at the whole weekend as a whole. But yeah, I mean, I love the Big Ten, and that's why big reason why I came to Michigan State was to be able to challenge myself each weekend with the top players around the country.
Gotta ask because people who are listening that are fans of college hockey probably obviously know about this, and I don't know if how much you're allowed to say, but I know that Grinnelli posted they're doing a Chicklets U for Michigan State. Did you see all the cameras coming by? Like, was there any chatter in the locker room about like, oh, don't say this or don't say that?
Yeah, so they were here actually last weekend. So I mean, a great weekend to come. We swept Notre Dame, which was great, but it was actually just Grinelli and then Fish, his cameraman. It was just them two, and they were just going around. I mean, we're kind of used to having cameras. We kind of have cameras in and out of the locker room and all places, the gym and the rink, pretty much all throughout the week. So it wasn't really the camera, but it's pretty nice to see Grinelli in there. He stopped by, but I mean, I didn't really see him just because the guys that gave the tour, they did it like way after we left the rink and everything. But yeah, no, that'll be definitely a cool video to watch. I'm excited to see when it comes out.
I mean, that facility it's one of the coolest. I remember the first time I was on campus there, Mun almost doesn't even look like a rink. And then you go inside and you go down and it's incredible. So, and seeing what they've done to like your facilities and the locker rooms recently too. I mean, that's got to be an awesome place to play.
Yeah, I mean, we're very fortunate all the way up to upstairs in the gym to our locker room. I mean, we got cold tubs, saunas, steam rooms, hot tubs. We got like a pool with like two treadmills in it to like for rehab and stuff. Like we just got the craziest stuff that like I mean, granted, we're very fortunate to have it and we do use it all, which is fantastic because I mean, why not? It's there, why not utilize it? But yeah, I mean, we get breakfast, lunch every day. Like we are taken care of a lot. And then we also have, especially this day and age, like NIL, like our whole team got a pretty big deal with that. So we're kept very comfy and nice over here at Michigan State for sure.
What's the go-to breakfast order?
Well, so like in the like it's kind of all rotation. So like Monday through Friday, like it's not set in stone, but each week it'll change up. But sometimes there's like omelets, hash browns, sausage, like it's all like yeah, unreal food. And like I mean, you can't beat it. You just go there, stuff your face, and then play hockey and stuff your face again, and then leave. Like it's kind of crazy what we get, and like oh, we have protein shakes all over the place. Like you never leave the rink hungry, that's for sure.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
I,
it's incredible.
I want to ask you from like an American's perspective, because last week we had an interview with the other Babs, the content creator who does a lot of junior hockey coverage. And with the whole news coming over about, being able to do Canadian hockey leagues and then coming over to college NCAA and that, that whole news cycle that I'm not going to recap that we talked about last week. It was interesting getting a Canadian's perspective on it, because we're all Americans and we think about it differently. Was there any like chatter amongst like the guys like about how all that went down, or do you have any immediate thoughts on it that you want to share?
Yeah, I mean, we didn't really know like what was really going on, just like through social media. So like we would talk about it in the locker rooms. Like our coach never brought it up, just because I mean it's nothing really for us to worry about right now. So like it was never really brought up. But I mean, my initial thoughts on it is it's great. I mean, I think it's going to make college hockey that much harder to play in, and like it's gonna kind of turn into like the semi-pro. Like if you're ready to go play in the NHL, like you're most likely gonna come through college first now, right? Like you're not gonna have many superstars going in at 18. Like they'll start to come to college, which I think is great for college and especially like the Big Ten. Like those guys, like we're gonna get some sick guys from Canada. Like I think it'll be great, And I think I think it stinks for the USHL because I'm not sure really what they're going to do because I mean, if I had the chance to pick between OHL and USHL and still go to college, I mean, I would have went straight to the OHL, like no brainer. So like I could see every American pretty much doing that. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how everything kind of falls in line over the next 8 to 10 months. I mean, I don't know if it'll have a huge impact on us next year, just because a lot of guys signed already and stuff. So yeah, it'll be sick for the future of college hockey, definitely.
In your decision process, when you're deciding what schools to go to, did you consider going to, OHL at all or, to the Q or something like that?
Yeah, I was actually drafted by Erie. So
Okay.
I was a COVID year. So after whatever 2020, I played another year. Both leagues were like, you got to play another year, both GMs or whatever. And then the next year is kind of like I went to the OHL camp. I tried out, whatever. They offered me a contract, and I was like, oh my God, like, what do I even do? So, like, my parents weren't even at the camp. It was an hour away. They weren't even there. So, like, and Erie kind of like, they were like, you got to make a decision 24 hours. So I was like, okay, like, so whatever. I like packed everything up. I like went home and I was just like literally drawing out pros and cons of going to the OHL or going to USHL in college. Like, it was kind of a big decision. And I think looking back on it, I'm so grateful that my parents were like, you got to go to college, because I was not the smartest in school. So when Erie was like, hey, we'll offer you this. And then at the end, they bumped up my money too a little bit. So I was like, why are we not doing this? Like, I was so mad at the moment. And then I went to the USHL and I was scratched like the whole month. So like the whole month, Erie's texting me like, come. I'm like, Mom, I gotta go. Like, what are you doing? Like, let me just leave. I hate it in Iowa. And then it just worked out. I started playing the USHL and then I fell in love with the USHL. So I mean, I'm thankful for the decision, but looking back, oh my God, I would have went right to Erie if I could have known I could have came to college.
You're like, Mom, it worked out for that 97 guy. He played in Erie and he's doing okay. I think I can do the same
Yeah,
thing.
I know, right? It's like, look at his banner up there. Like, come on, I can do the same thing if I come here.
Well, some pretty big news for you personally since we last spoke to you. Congratulations on getting drafted. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
Hometown guy too. Saw a little YouTube segment the Sabres did on you during dev camp. So I want to ask, like, how was your draft experience? Any like crazy story or anything?
Nothing like crazy. I mean, I guess the craziest part looking back is that I had no family with me. It was just my girlfriend. Because I was like a later round. My brother was getting married, so there's like a bridal shower the same day. So like I had a lot of family in town. They're just all at the bridal shower. And then my dad was working. I mean, he works, so it's just like he didn't really care. And like he knew I was going in the later round, so he's like, oh, like whatever, I'll come back watch later. And then yeah, it was just me and my girlfriend sitting on the couch. And I mean, I had a few teams. I knew it was either fifth, sixth, or seventh. And like, I don't know even if I could say this, but like Toronto was one of my other teams and they had like three picks in the fifth. So I was like, okay, like this could be it. They don't have rest of the picks, six, seven. And I was planning on going to their development camp. So I knew like I was in touch with them a little bit. And then and it was between Toronto and Buffalo. I knew kind of I'd go to either one, and then Buffalo came up, and I was like, "Oh my God! Like, what are the chances?" So nothing crazy. I mean, we had a little party after, but then for me, at least, I didn't get to celebrate too long. Development camp was the next day, which was kind of unfortunate, but I mean, it all worked out great because I was in Buffalo anyway, so it was awesome.
We got to hear about the dev camp experience. I like you hear a lot about like training camps and stuff, but like, is there what is development camp like? Do they treat it differently than training camp since it's all young guys? Like,
Yeah, I mean, I can't really say on training camp. I mean, I've seen videos; they don't look too fun in training camp, but like, I had a blast at development camp. One of like the big things from Buffalo was like most of you aren't going to play in the NHL next year. I mean, there might be one or two, whatever. So it's like just use it as experience, get to know how like the Sabres work, like meet everybody, like be, I don't know, just absorb everything in type development camp, which was great. I mean, believe me, we had the bike test and it was terrible, especially that time in summer. I was not ready as I should have been, but no, it wasn't bad at all. And I, fortunately, being in Buffalo, there was seven other kids I grew up playing hockey with that were also at the camp. So like I knew a ton of people going in. The GM, Kevin Adams, was my skills coach when I was like 12. And their development guy, Tim Kennedy, he was my actual coach when I was 16. So it was like I knew everybody. And it was for me, like where development camp was at the same rink I skate all summer. So I was just going there for a few summer skates and like get to know the guys. So nothing crazy, but it was a lot of fun for sure.
Is that Tim Kennedy, like 2007 national championship Tim Kennedy?
Yeah, he's the goat around here. Yeah.
Unreal. Unreal.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's sick that you kind of just got to feel right at home. I'm sure like a lot of players maybe a little more nervous and stuff, but it's cool that you get to just kind of relax because you're real familiar with the environment and the people and everything.
Yeah, exactly. I wasn't nervous one time, and then like I was talking to my roommate after he was drafted by Buffalo as well, and he went to development camp the year before. He's like, "Oh, I was so nervous. Like it was like I was sweating. I was like, I didn't even care. Like I was just having fun. Like it's an experience you can't really tense up during. So I just had fun with it and just ran with it.
was there anyone at dev camp, like maybe a Swede or a Finn or a Russian or something, where you hadn't really heard of the guy and you're like, holy smokes, this guy's really good.
Yes, it was actually the first round pick in this year's draft. I don't know how to say it, Ninas or something Ninas, or I don't know even how to say like his first name, but I didn't think he was going to be that good because he was, what was it, '06 draft year this year? Yeah, so like he was someone like I had no idea of, and I was like, oh, 06, like whatever, like first rounder, like we'll see how good he really is. And then he showed up and he was nasty.
Is it this Consta Hellenius? Is
Oh,
that
Hellenius, yes, yeah. I was only saying half
Okay.
of his last name. Yeah, that's how. Yeah, yeah.
A
That was it.
yes?
Finnish guy looks like, right?
I don't have the nationality pulled up, but yeah, he's taken 14th overall
Yeah,
this
he's
year.
Finland.
Yeah, Finnish.
Yeah, he was a kid
Interesting.
that I was very surprised about, and he was kind of small, so I was like, oh, like he won't be that good. And then he made me look pretty stupid in a few drills, though.
Uh,
Looks like Olli Jokinen was his coach.
oh wow.
Oh,
Kind of a fun fact there.
There's a good name. Going back to the college thing just for a second. You guys had some pretty big names leave in the off season. Obviously, Lev Shinov goes pretty high. Your captain, Nash Nienhuis, I think he's playing overseas now, right? And
yep.
is he in Germany?
Yes, I believe so. I mean, we have like three ex teammates like over to Europe, and I have no idea what countries they're in, but that sounds about right.
But you guys have also had some guys really come in and step up this year. One of the big names I think coming up for this draft that everyone's talking about is going to be Shane Van Zoggy. What's it been like to play with him so far this year?
He's a moose. That's the only way to describe him, and that's how everybody describes him that I've talked to him. I mean, he's well, yeah, he's not. It's not even. It's his draft year this year. He's like 230, 6'2", like just an absolute monster. Like he's gonna play in the NHL for a very long time. Like he's a great player, and I think like he struggled in like the first. I'd say like the first 2 weekends, and then the last 2 weekends he caught fire. Like I think he has like 7 points in the last 4 games. Like he's just gotten so hot, and he's been so good for a fourth line. I mean, he shouldn't be a fourth line player, but it's just like how deep we are. And like he fits that fourth line role so well. And he scored a huge goal for us on Saturday night. And like, yeah, he's going to go very high. And like, I think his stock is just rising as we speak. Like, he's going to be a very good hockey player for sure.
Yeah, I mean that goal against Notre Dame, I mean that was unbelievable. Just absolutely walks the guy and then puts it under the bar right past the goalie's ear. So,
Yeah.
obviously, a huge series for you guys when you have to play a team and a program that's got, I like to say as much money as Notre Dame. People like to say as much attention as Notre Dame gets. But
Uh-huh.
who are some of the other guys, that you've really noticed, taking a big step forward or taking a step up in terms of responsibility this year?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Charlie Stramel. I mean, we got him out of the transfer portal. I think he was one of the huge gets for us out of the transfer portal, and he's just taken a next step. I think it was like kind of the same thing, in Wisconsin. He kind of got buried in the lineup. Like he wasn't treated as well as he should have been treated for the type of player he is, and he's found his game here, and he's been lights out. And another guy is Andrews. We got him from CC, and he's been, I think, yeah, he leads our defenseman in points. Like he's just a point machine back there. Like no idea how he gets them, but like he's been so well for us, and he's just another reliable guy that like we didn't know about coming in, and then both him and Stramel just have totally stepped up for us, and like we're like, yeah, we needed you guys to win a national championship, so that's why we got him.
I gotta ask, what can you tell me? I'm a Caps fan, so I'm curious what you can tell me about Mr. David Gucciardi. He's a late round Caps pick a couple years ago, I think.
Yeah. I've sat next to him for the last 2 years, so I got to know him pretty well. I mean, he's a great guy, and I mean, he kind of struggled in the beginning of the season as well, and I think literally the last past 2 weekends, like he's been great for us. Every game he's been dominant. He's just a big, solid defenseman, just rips the puck as well, and because can move the puck pretty quick. So I think that's what Caps are making him do, and watching him how he does it, and it's just play a simple defensive game, and he's done it really well. I mean, he's a big body. He can skate like the wind. He flies out there, and yeah, I think he'll definitely be playing for the Caps. I'm sure sooner or later.
I'm really excited for the rest of this college hockey season. I was just looking at your guys' schedule. There's so many like big names now too. Like we talked about this last week with our interview guest Babs. Just like college hockey's exploding. I feel like the popularity is really gaining. Probably helps that there's a lot of like prospect names that you like
Mhm.
recognize. Some of the names on BC that Mac already named earlier. Um, what would you say is like the biggest reason that college hockey is kind of popping off right now?
I That's a pretty tough question because I totally agree. I think it's popping off. I mean, everything, even on social media, like it's just all over. Like even just like the game of hockey, but like college hockey, I think it is kind of because of like those prospects. Like you get like one or two of them like celebrating to going to BU after being a Vancouver kid. Like that doesn't happen, or it didn't happen really much often before. So I think it's like those big Canadian boys coming down, like playing college, and like yeah, you got the names like Leonard and all like pro, like yeah, like those help for sure. But I think it's like just like the transition over to like college hockey is I feel like way better than the CHL, and I feel like the CHL kind of got a lot of hype, and then now it's kind of turning over to the NCAA, which I love. I love it.
Well, like Harrison said, there's some big games coming up on this schedule here, and always one of the ones that's circled, especially for me, is the Duel in the D, at Little Caesars Arena. What's it like to play in games like that against your biggest rival?
Yeah, I mean that game's crazy. I at Little Caesars Arena too. Have you guys ever been to Little Caesars Arena?
No.
It's on the
It's
Oh,
list.
on the list near the
is
top,
it?
but
Oh, it's incredible. It's like the nicest rink I've ever been in. Like, granted, I haven't been in many NHL rinks, but like, just a top-notch facility. And then to play there in front of 17,000, just absolutely sold out, half green, half yellow, like or maize blue, whatever you call it. Yeah, it's sick. Like last year was sick, and like they haven't won it in, like MSU hasn't won it in a while. So like to go in there and win it and beat the rival, like there's no game you want to get up more for than that one. I get chills thinking about playing in it, and I can't wait to play in it in what 2 months.
Yeah, just about. We all know, you had some amazing performances against Michigan down the stretch last year. I know the season didn't necessarily end up the way that you guys wanted. I'm assuming the goal here is national championship or bust, but any other goals along the way or personal stuff that you're trying to accomplish this year?
I mean, personal stuff, just growing the game, just maturing out there, learning kind of the ins and outs of kind of just fine detailing my game a little bit, I would say, become smarter and more mature. But I mean, for the team, like it's a national championship or nothing. Like we have our eyes set on that, and every single guy in the room knows that. Like I hate to say it, but we're gonna lose a lot of great hockey players from our team after this year. Like we probably have 5 NHL signings after this year alone. Like it's going to be sick to see, but obviously it's going to be bad to see at the same time to see him leave. But yeah, so it's like it's all or nothing for us right now, and I'm excited to kind of get down the stretch, get into playoff hockey, go to the tournament, be at my first Frozen Four. Like those are all the things I'm already thinking about because I really truly believe it will happen, and I think we have the team to do it this year for sure.
Hell yeah, dude. I love to hear that.
Yeah, I'm excited.
I don't have any more hockey questions, but before we do let you go, I want to change topics just for a second. Big win for the Bills yesterday. I'm sure you were very
How about
ecstatic
that
about that.
run?
I know, right?
Unreal.
How we fe how we feeling now?
Great. I mean, but I love winning that game, but I also don't because then we always lose the next one in playoffs,
Right. You
So it's
just
like
pissed
maybe
them
we
off.
give you that one, and then go beat them in the playoffs. But no, I think it's sick. The Bills are rocking. I'm excited. I'm actually going to the game the 22nd. They play the Patriots. I mean, the only game I
Oh,
could kind of only go to with my schedules over the last few years. So I'm excited for that. It'll be a cold one, which will be cool too. But yeah, they're nasty. I got to see them win a Super Bowl before I die, right? Like it's only about time. My dad didn't get to see one. I mean, hopefully he doesn't die soon, but like I got to see one, and I got to feel that city accept a Super Bowl trophy as well.
It has to be like the most deserving fan base. I mean, just between the two teams in that area, like something's got to give, right?
Something's got to go. Sabres got to make the playoffs, or we got to win a Super Bowl. Like it's one of the two, and one of them has to come quick.
I'm assuming we won't be seeing you jumping on tables. Probably not a good idea.
No, no, probably not. If my coach saw that, he would not like that.
I love it. Love it.
Let's talk about Adam for a second. What's it been like to play under a guy like that? I know last time we spoke with you, we talked a little bit about how he came in and completely changed the program, but it just seems like everyone in that room is completely bought into what he is saying.
Yeah, and you just said it. Every single kid's bought in. I mean, the coaches like they design our game so like we're kind of always in a system. Don't get me wrong, they let you play hockey, but like breaking the puck out, PK, PP, like we all have like these type of systems that we small systems that are in the game, and like we literally fought. Like, I think Nighty is like the smartest coach I've ever been around. And the way he talks, the way he brings the team together and like gets you like his pregame speech, like just gets you going every time. Like there's no chance like you don't want to go run through a wall for him. And he's just like the nicest guy ever. He's very personal. Like his office is always, I mean, he's never in his office. He's always down in the lounge messing around. Like he's always doing something with us. Even like all the coaches, I feel like are just little kids hanging out with us. Like it's kind of crazy. Like they're all nuts. They're all joking around, like hitting each other. And it's just like, what are we doing? But like, it brings us all together and it makes us special. I think, you know.
That sounds like an unbelievable room to be in, and obviously we hope this success continues throughout the season. Boys, do we have any more questions before we wrap up here?
No, I'm just
Think
wishing you
I'm all
good luck the
good.
rest of the year.
Yeah, best of luck, man.
Yeah,
Thank you. I
definitely.
appreciate it.
We'll be watching, so we'll have to definitely try and make it up for a game at least once this year. But best
Yeah,
of luck.
absolutely. Or the Frozen Four. We're in St. Louis, I think. So
That would be cool. I would like to see that too. So
and a little fun fact, that's where the '07 team won it as well.
That's right. Good to know.
And we almost win it every 20 years. We got 66, 87,
Yeah, that's
86,
right.
07, 25 he'll be. So it's all coming together here.
The stars are
looking good.
aligning.
It's looking good. Well, we'll definitely have to do this again sometime this year. Thank you again for taking the time, and go green.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Go white, baby. Thank you.
Huge thanks to Patrick once again for joining us. Always love sitting down and chatting some current puck. I feel like a lot of the interviews we get sometimes are, retired or in the, talking past times, but it's cool to kind of get the youth updates of the league, chatting some names of the up and comers and just seeing what like college hockey life has to bring this current day and age. Like we said, it's popping off in the interviews. So it's fun to
It's
see.
also kind of fun to like vicariously live through those guys and like be like,
Oh, yeah.
wow, wouldn't it have been cool if I was like a 20-year-old that was like a D1 hockey player?
Right,
and
if I was like good.
super good at hockey.
Yeah. Yeah. If you actually applied yourself at something and,
Right,
were accomplished, must be nice.
And born in Buffalo probably would have helped too, but
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Your ODR time goes up a little bit, but like that's just I think what they call streets up there post October.
Yeah, that also sounds accurate. Well, we're going to dive into the league news, but before we do, Mac has a word from our friends over at DraftKings.
That's right. The 24-25 NHL season still has that new car smell, and the action is heating up at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. And if you are new to DraftKings, listen up. New customers bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code THPN. That's code THPN for new customers to get $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 and over, age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in New Hampshire, Oregon, and Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/ftball. NFL Plus Premium offer available only to new and former NFL Plus subscribers. Additional NFL Plus Premium terms at nfl.com/terms.
Beautiful.
New car smell, baby.
Slaps
Love
the
that.
roof. Just a used car salesman for DraftKings. I love it.
Speaking of cars, real quick, are you familiar with heated steering wheels? Mac, maybe more so you.
Yeah, I've heard it. Yeah, I know people have them.
Had no idea that that was a thing.
Yeah, my mom's new car has one of those.
I would imagine because it was talked about at my soon-to-be in-laws' house the other day. They got it, like those skins that they put on steering wheels, like you can get like leopard skin or whatever. If someone knows if they make heated ones, please send me a DM. It's a hot topic of the family these days. I'd have a hard time
That's
thinking
probably
that
a
doesn't
thing.
exist.
I would
Yeah.
think it would, yeah.
Yeah.
Has to be on Amazon, right? Or Temu or something.
Right.
I mean, the one on Temu might like, melt your hands, but
Or like set your car on fire or
yeah, it's
something.
probably like a 50-50 with that. My Jaguar actually had a heated steering wheel, but that was just
Oh.
from the sheer amount of heat that the motor put off while it overheated. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Nice. Unintentional.
Yeah, unintentional, just, front end
Accidental.
on fire kind of things. Yeah.
Right. Right.
Random, some would say. Well, it's not random, John Tortorella, because this man is out here playing chess, not checkers. And when everyone in the league is questioning him, he knows exactly what he is doing. Last week when we chatted, I think it was the first game back for Mitchkov where he played against the Sharks and he got benched 2 games. Well, the Flyers are undefeated since that benching. They're 3-0 since Mitchkov got added back into the lineup. They've taken down the Sharks, the Senators, and the Sabres. Mitchkov has 5 points in 3 games since being scratched, and he looks really, really good. The Flyers are currently in the thick of the wild card hunt and are only 1 point out of the second wild card spot with a couple games in hand. As we are recording this, they are taking on the Colorado Avalanche. That should be a good measuring stick game. But your guys' thoughts on just the insanity that is hoodie John Tortorella, because he is now upgraded to wearing hoodies behind the bench.
Yeah, I mean, anyone that was like flaming him for the decision to scratch that guy, just you don't know, Puck. I mean, this is not necessarily a bad thing. It's like people see a scratch and they're like, "Oh my God, that's like humiliating. It's terrible. What is he doing?" It's like, no, this is a tool that many coaches use to hit the reset button on young guys or even older guys, any guy really. And it worked. So I think it was weird that all the casuals were coming out of the woodwork saying like, what the hell is he doing? Like this happens all the time.
I totally agree. I think it's one of those situations too where it's a player coming over to North America for the first time playing a full season in North America. So, there's going to be times where you need to say to them, "Hey, I love what you're doing. We need to focus on some other points of your game. So I want you to sit and watch for a little bit." I mean, the Caps have done that multiple times with Hendrix Lapierre this year. That's a guy that's been playing in North America for his entire life. So, I totally agree with you. I don't think it's uncommon, especially for these you know, elite level prospects to need to do, some games on, some games off. And, part of that may just be adjusting to the fact that, hey, you might have to play 82 hockey games this year, which is probably more than you're used to playing.
I think that's really the kicker is the
Yep.
brutal schedule that they're probably not used to. I do think
Mhm.
it's funny that he was leading the team in points and he's probably never been scratched in his life. And Torts is like, yeah, so you're gonna sit the next 2 games, and he's probably just like, what? Like,
Turns out, like, just like didn't hold the door for him on the way into the practice facility or something. And Torch is just like,
Yeah.
nope, no, we're fixing this now.
or
I
asked him
will
why
say
he's
it
not wearing a
should be
suit.
a yeah, right. Should be an interesting next couple of games for them to kind of see if they might actually have something here. They do need to build on this. I know 3 wins in a row, that's nice, but a couple of weaker teams, as Harry mentioned. Be interesting to see if they can string something together here because yeah, Colorado, good team, but what they and the Flyers have in common is neither can find somebody to stop the puck. So I'm going to be more interested to see how that Carolina and the Vegas game go with Flyers.
Yeah, they're kicking off a nice little 4 game homestand here. Like I said, Colorado, as we're recording this, I believe that is 0-0 going into the first intermission. And then they've got the Hurricanes, who are a wagon at the moment, the Blackhawks, who are dead last in the league, and then Vegas. So a nice little mix there for the Flyers. I think we'll learn a little bit about this team over the next 4. Oh, Nick, sorry, you got something?
Yeah, it's interesting with them. I feel like, they were a point away from making the playoffs last year or 2 points away, whatever it ended up being. And kind of
Mathematical.
seems like if they can play their best hockey, that might be where they are again this year. And I think for them, that's not necessarily a bad thing. Mac, I think you nailed it with the goaltending thing. I mean, them in Colorado, I honestly don't know whose goaltending situation is worse right now, but yeah, it seems like if Torts can just button it up a little bit for them, they might be able to get pesky around playoff time.
Yes, my elite fantasy goaltender Samuel Ursan is on IR. So the Flyers are currently handicapped. They are starting against Colorado. I've never heard of this guy, so don't flame me. Maybe I should.
Isn't it?
Alexei
Is it
Kolosov.
Fedotov? Oh, Kolosov. That's the other guy. Yeah, because so it's Fedotov and Kolosov, I guess now. So that's great.
I know Fedotov because he played a little bit last year, but now they
Yeah,
have Coleslaw in net, so we're just
yeah.
working on that one now. But yes, made 10 saves so far. I guess I can't make fun of him too much. Uh,
Call Michael Leighton. Where's he at?
I think Brian Boucher could still suit up, right? He looks pretty good.
Yeah, there you go.
Kevin Weeks, maybe.
Yeah.
Let's see. Speaking of some goalies who have stopped the puck a lot in their career, Mr. Andre Vasilevsky, 300 career wins. Quite the milestone. He became the 40th goalie in NHL history to win 300, and he is now officially the fastest ever to do so, playing in just 490 games. He secured the 300th win against the Winnipeg Jets, who only had one loss of the season at the time, last week in a 4-1 win at home. Your guys' reaction to this Vasy record?
I mean, this is amazing. I think, winning 300 out of your first 490 games. I mean, one that just shows how much of an absolute wagon Tampa was for those 5 years where they were building up to and then going on their cup runs. But I mean, the fact that they shut down a Jets team that had not lost on the road all season in that fashion, I mean, it's Tampa Bay Lightning hockey, and he's such a huge reason of why they're so successful.
I got a little chicken or the egg question for you guys. Not, I have a feeling the answer is just yes, but let me see what you guys think here. Is that record for Vasy and just his overall career numbers, is that a product of how good the team around him is and was when he came into the league? Or is it more like that team was so good because they had this crazy good goaltender come in and help build that franchise up? You know what I'm saying? Like,
It's a great question.
is his numbers benefiting more from the team around him, or is it the opposite?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that's the best way to put it. I think the way I kind of like look at it in my brain is like for the first half of like his tenure with them, the
Yeah.
team was better because he had
Yeah.
some issues at the beginning. Like it was hard for him to go to the distance with, the postseason, they
Yeah.
would say, run out of Vasilevsky. But
Uh-huh.
I think the second half, like he was winning some playoff games where they really just
Yep.
didn't belong there at all.
I think that's the right answer.
I 100% agree. That is, I mean, yes, it's a goalie record, but it just feels like a team record too.
Yeah.
It reminds me a lot of, not didn't do it as fast, obviously, but those early Fleury years where the Pens were just regular season juggernauts, and he would just stack 40 wins a year, and he had a sick team. I mean, there's definitely
Yeah.
games where he didn't deserve a win, and the power play bailed him out. But
Right.
yeah, I agree, Nick. It feels like the timeline shifted a little bit.
It
Either
would be
way, hats off to
interesting.
Vasy though.
Yeah. It would be interesting if you could if there was some way to drop him into the 2001 New Jersey Devils and are you as good as Marty Brodeur? Like how many games are you going to win here? But
Right.
Someday we can do that.
Would be interesting. They did have the ceremony for that on Saturday before they played the Devils. Got a sweet new watch for Vasy, as well as a golden goalie stick from the owner, which was actually pretty
Cool.
sweet looking. And then the other big milestone of the week, Mr. Connor McDavid, 1,000 career points. That is crazy to say. It feels like that went way too quick. He's the 99th player to reach the 1,000 point milestone, and he is the fourth fastest to do it in history. He did it in 659 games. The only three people who did it faster, Mike Bossy, Mario Lemieux, and then the fastest, of course, the great Wayne Gretzky. Your thoughts on this?
I mean, I know we're, talking about McDavid, but in terms of Gretzky records that are never going to be broken, this has to be the new number one, right? It's this and the point record, 424 games to get 1,000 points. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, and I think I saw, I can't remember what account did it. once he got from 1,000 to 2,000, that's technically the second fastest. If you
Yeah.
can, yeah, because he did another 1,000. Because the
That's
only
crazy.
Yeah.
yeah, which is just fucked up. But it does beg a good question. What's more impressive, doing it 1,004.24, or the point record overall? I have no idea. It breaks my brain.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, I mean, 659 games alone is amazing for 1,000 points. It's so astronomical to try and wrap your brain around the fact that he did it. I think I forget who tweeted this, but someone basically said that like Austin Matthews would basically need like 230 more games to get to like where this is right now.
Yeah, yeah, which is just nuts. It's I don't want to say it sucks. It kind of sucks. Like for the first, I feel like oh, just through the whole neck of time, like Crosby and Ovi have always been so neck and neck, and I just wish McDavid had like that same kind of like Ali Frazier type player that could go with him. And Matthews is unreal. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, like you said, it's not even it's not even close.
No, I think, there's a little bit of a difference there. And I think most people would agree about that. You could probably say Matthews is a better goal scorer, and I'd be okay with that. But
Yeah,
I get your point. I do think it would be cool if there was like, sort of like a rival or a foil to build a narrative off of. But I mean, just a
he's that
pleasure to
good.
watch night in, night out. I mean, it's what milestone is next at this point, right?
Yeah, well, I think he's chasing one of them, and he's going to be damned if he comes up short. But of course, he did it on an assist from Leon Draisaitl, right? That's just extremely fitting. And then Nick, I would love to hear your reaction to this. I don't know if you got a chance to see it, but in his post-game presser, he was on the ice, he was getting interviewed, and all the fans are chanting, and they were basically like, wow, Connor, we love you so much. Like, how's it feel to finally get to 1,000? And he's like, you're getting me emotional in my older age. And people on Twitter were like, this guy's 27 years old, and he's talking about his older age.
Well, first of all, if he feels old, I'm fucked. Like, because that guy's in amazing shape. And like, I mean, my back hurts when the wind blows, but I mean, no, you're not old. Come on, man. Like, I can't be that old yet. You can't do that to me, Connor. Come on.
Save it for the rest of us. You know, Max over here, he's like, damn it, I got one more year.
Yeah, pretty much. No, I did hear him say that. I think he was mostly kidding, but he was getting choked up.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
Emotional
Um,
moment for sure.
Great night for Oilers fans. And then, of course, we got to talk about chasing another Gretzky record because this guy just keeps on doing it. Alex Ovechkin, red hot. I don't know how else to say it. He gets a hat trick against the Vegas Golden Knights on Sunday. This guy just loves playing in Vegas. He's now tied for the league lead in goals with 13. Shares that with Reinhart and Draisaitl. He is only 29 goals away from passing Gretzky's record. Uh, Before I toss off to you guys, because I know you got a lot to say, I found this very interesting. So, for those who don't know, Gretzky retired at 38 years old. Ovechkin is actually 39 years old this season. He has 13 goals, like I said, through 17 games at 39 years old. In Gretzky's final season at 38, he only had 9 goals through 70 games. That is just crazy.
Probably what year was that? Gretzky's final
I believe
year.
that was 90.
94.
Right. And
No,
all
I
the
think it was
99.
99.
Okay.
and
99.
and all the goalies were wearing a lot of pads and
13-inch pads.
dropping
Yeah.
down into the butterfly and that kind of stuff.
Ah, you sound like Noah Hockey Stick.
Yeah. Gretzky era goaltending points to an empty net. No, I mean, this was a sick game. I mentioned it at the beginning of the episode, but really fun one to watch. First goal, kind of a fluky one. I think it bounced off Petrangelo's skate or something like that. Second goal was vintage Ovi shit, just coming down on a 2-on-1, absolutely blows one by Samsonov, which I don't know if you guys saw the replay, but Samsonov, like, as the 2-on-1 is coming at him and Ovi's got the puck, Sammy literally just points at Ovi, just like points straight at him, like, oh shit, he's got the puck, and no one does anything about it. And then he just rips it by him.
It's
Oh,
just
so
like
good.
it was like I couldn't tell. I know Joe B was talking about this on the broadcast. He's like, is he calling like I got shooter? Like,
Yeah.
and I also love how like Petrangelo just was like, no, I'm gonna cover the pass to Matt Roy. 'Cause you
Like,
know
I
who's
don't want
not
to
a threat?
block
The guy
that.
who's
Yeah.
got 650
Yeah.
NHL or what is it, 850 NHL
Yeah.
goals now. It's like, maybe you want to cover that one. So
Right. Did you guys see on Twitter, I forget which Caps account posted it today, but it was like experiencing Samsonov from the opposite side. And it's like a video of like a tropical island, a boat
It's like
playing, and it's like
vacation.
Time to Pretend by
yeah,
MGMT playing. Just
gem of a song, by the
hilarious.
way.
So funny.
I was wrapped up in Sunday football, but god damn it, had I known that Samsonov was starting, I would have hammered the Caps. I should have
Well,
looked
and it
into
was
that.
against Logan Thompson too. It was like the Matt
Yeah.
Stafford, Jared Goff
Yeah,
situation. Although I know it wasn't a trade that had those two get flip flopped in the NHL here. But
Yeah.
did you get while we're talking about this? Did you guys see get a chance to see the Logan Thompson tribute video and what happened
yes.
there?
I didn't see it, but I heard he got a little choked up.
He did. Yeah, he. It was interesting. Somebody, I think it was one of the Caps beat reporters tweeted that it was interesting timing because apparently when they went to that commercial break and they played that video and he got a little choked up when they came back from the commercial break the Caps had to kill a penalty, and so the the Caps reporter was saying like this is kind of not ideal timing. You got our goalie all like choked up in his feels. We need him dialed in right now to kill this penalty, but
How's he gonna
uh
stop the puck when he's crying, buddy? Come
yeah,
on.
exactly. But I think it worked out cool. Nice, nice tribute. Nice to see the Vegas fans get on their feet for him.
Well, the Caps just keep on rolling. Ovi keeps on scoring. Tonight, as we're recording, I think puck drops in about an hour. They'll take on Utah. Um, and the next team we're going to talk about, they took down on Friday night. I thought for sure maybe the Avalanche would be healthy and come out with some juice, but that was not the case. But good news for the Avalanche. They are finally starting to get healthy again. Nichushkin and Drouin returned to the lineup on Friday against the Caps when they lost. And then, as you guys know, Lekkonen's already been back. So essentially, their whole second line is just come back. That's nice for them.
Yeah, that was
Um,
going back to the Caps for a second. Sorry, Homer bias, but like that win against the Avs was an awesome win for the Washington Capitals. Spencer Carberry nailed it in his post game speech in the locker room. Closing out that third period the way they did. That was a playoff hockey third period. Love to see that from the team. Eller looked great in his first game. Vrana tried to take the net off with that absolute bomb of a one-timer. That was like I think it was the first or second goal on the power play, but just love to see wins like that on the road. We had talked, I think, a couple episodes ago about how that team had won a lot of games at home, hadn't really been tested on the road yet, and I thought that was a great first tough test on the road.
the Washington Capitals, not Homer bias, but while we're talking about it, they are leading the league in goals for per game. They're literally first. They are leading the league in shooting percentage. They are literally first. And where do they rank in power play? Fourth power play. Yeah, I sent this in the group and it's absolutely crazy. Like you think about the anemic offense they had last year when we were just like they can't score, they can't score. Charlie Lindgren's the only reason they're in it, and they are scoring at will. It's crazy. It looks like the '08 Caps.
Yeah, it does. It's a little bit better defense with the '08 Caps because they would just, win games like 6-5. But it's great to see guys up and down the lineup scoring. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but goal scoring by committee, and then the fact that you've got two guys in the top four in league scoring is really hard to be mad at.
Real quick before we move to discussion, did you guys have a reaction to the Evgeny Kuznetsov insane lacrosse KHL bald eagle celly goal? It's the most ridiculous goal I've ever seen.
It was sweet for sure. I don't think I've ever seen somebody pull off like the Michigan from like the slot there, so that's pretty interesting. But happy to see he's still keeping the Sally going, and happy to see he seemed excited and into it after he scored. So hope he's doing well.
The Kuzi show is alive and well over there for Ska. That was unbelievable. I don't think Mac, you nailed it. I don't think I've ever seen anyone attempt that, let alone pull it off. So, can't imagine that would go over too well in the NHL. I feel like you'd probably end up pretty flat on your back and missing some of your chicklets if you tried that.
Yeah, especially if you tried it against Ryan Reaves, which we will talk about here very shortly. But before we do, Mac has a word from our friends over at Raycon.
Sure do. Yep. The most exciting thing about Black Friday and Cyber Monday is getting an amazing deal that you wouldn't normally get, except with Raycon, because with Raycon, you can get an amazing deal on premium audio every day of the year. But that doesn't mean they're not having any sales for Black Friday and Cyber Monday. Far from it. They're actually doubling down on their amazing value by offering my listeners up to 30% site wide. Looking for a Black Friday or Cyber Monday deal that you'll appreciate every day? Try Raycon's Everyday Earbuds. Their latest model includes plenty of new features that make them even more of a must have for any audio lover. For example, they now have a 32-hour battery life and a multi point connectivity that lets you pair with two devices at once. Raycons start at just half the price as the other guys, so they're already an amazing deal, even before you factor in their offer of up to 30% off site wide. It's time to save big for Black Friday and Cyber Monday, so go to buyraycon.com/THPN today to get up to 30% off site wide. That's right, you'll get up to 30% off everything on Raycon's website when you go to buyraycon.com/THPN.
Gnarly. Thank you, Raycon. Going to move on to the Saturday night showdown between the Leafs and the Oilers. And wow, this one game produced about four different storylines. So that is must talk hockey. So we'll kick it off with Oliver Ekman-Larsson. He played in his 1000th game. Kudos to him. But the one play that everybody is talking about is the Ryan Reaves headshot to Darnell Nurse. And it came over, I believe earlier today, that Ryan Reaves is suspended for 5 games. Your guys' thoughts on this one?
So I think initially it looks really bad. Obviously doesn't help that it's Revo. I can look at this through a lens of I know what it's like when Tom Wilson has a hit that people don't like. You automatically are under more scrutiny just because of the guy that you are and the name on the back of your sweater. A lot to unpack here. One thing that I think is really interesting that I saw somebody say on Twitter is that Reeves actually like attempts to sweep the puck away before he hits him, which is true. If you look at it, he does go for the puck. I don't think it's fair to say Revo was like headhunting on this play because he's not coming in there like I do kind of agree with what Biz said about it. Like he's not coming in there trying to like blow this guy's head off. Like he knows better than that. And you can see him swing his stick for the puck. However, Nurse had his head down. Reaves was, I mean, at the very least, it's probably charging. He didn't really slow up. He came flying in there. It definitely should have been a game, in my opinion, gets tossed from the game, in my opinion. And I mean, the 5 games, like I said, I think it's more about his history. I think if this was like a first time offense, maybe it's 2 or 3 games or something like that. I'm actually surprised with his history. It wasn't more. I could see Tom Wilson getting like 10 for this hit or something like that. But is what it is. I don't think it's that surprising. I also don't have a huge issue with it being 5. So that's kind of my take, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to put it. I'm fine with 5, but I totally agree with you in the fact that like when this happened, I was like, okay, this is going to be big. This is going to be like 7, 8, 9, probably going up to 10. I totally agree with you that if it's Tom Wilson, it's probably starting at 10 and then just going up from there. But I think you make a great point about trying to sweep the puck. And, I don't think anyone in this league, unless their wires completely cross, go out and start headhunting like this. But I do think these 5 games, in addition to, like you said, the type of player that we're talking about here and what this player is known for, this is also exactly the kind of hit that the NHL is trying to take out of their game. So I think by them dropping the hammer with 5, that's a good step in the right direction. I mean, this is It's unfortunate. I feel so bad for Darnell Nurse because, we all know that this guy struggled and got heavily criticized in the postseason last year. And I thought he's looked great to start this year and has been playing really, really well for the Oilers. I hope he's okay. I know we're kind of in like a week to week phase, I think they said today with him right now, but this is shoulder to head. This is shoulder to mouth. This is shoulder to face. This is, I hate to say I know it's not intentionally, the same, but it reminds me of Scott Stevens on Eric Lindros or Scott Stevens on Paul Correa, because that's the kind of, blind side to the head hit it was. And, it just sucks. I feel so bad for Nurse in this situation. Hopefully he's back soon.
Yeah. So full speed, the first time I saw this, I was like, oh, 10, like easy, big time 10. And then the Department of Player Safety kind of sent out their breakdown video, and it kind of slows it up a little bit. Um, then you do see he sweeps for the puck. Mac, I agree. I saw that today, so I'm glad you mentioned that. I don't like it's one of those weird things. I don't think he meant to hit him in the head. I don't even know if he really meant to like hit him from the start. I think once he missed the swing with the stick, it was kind of like, oh shit, well, I gotta do something or I'm gonna go flying. And he just kind of like extended his shoulder or whatever. Doesn't make it right at all, but I don't think the intent was to, have Nurse have blood dripping from his forehead and get him kicked out of the game. But yeah, I am a little surprised it's not more than five. I don't know which one of you said that earlier. I was thinking maybe 7, 8 in that range, but uh I don't know. I think the internet seems pretty content with five.
I will give the NHL officiating and DOPS here some credit. I think going from the Jeannot hit at 3 to this at 5, I do agree with that progression. This to me
Yeah.
is much worse. And just because we've been asking for it for 20 years, I do appreciate the consistency and the calls there. But um, yeah, I agree. I think this could have probably been more.
Well said. I think that's a great point to add with the Jeannot comparison. But uh, other than that, this game was phenomenal. Not sure if everybody got a chance to watch, but the Leafs do end up taking it in overtime. I believe it was a 4-3 final score, if memory's correct. And Mitchie Marner, what a play. Picks off Leon and McDavid on a 2-on-1 in overtime. And as he picks it off, he just turns and burns, goes the other way. A little low left snipe for the OT winner. And let's just say Marner's off is that was a pretty big play for him, right? He does it on the national stage, Hockey Night in Canada, Saturday night, pickpockets McDavid and Draisaitl, gets the game winner with Matthews out of the lineup. That's got to feel good for him.
Yeah, especially for a kid that's from, Ontario and, grew up around all of that, probably watching the Leafs do that, every Saturday night. You can't say that that doesn't mean the world to him. I know at the end of the day, it's still just 2 points and it's one hockey game, and they probably didn't want to take him to overtime, but that's got to be a huge confidence booster for him, especially, for me, the overtime winner's one thing, but like picking off 97 and 29 and then taking it the other way and shoving it in their face is pretty sweet.
Yeah, absolutely. While we're on the subject of overtime, I have a little timely question for you. I don't want to spend too much time on this. I know we got a lot more to talk about, but I was watching like I think it was like Sharks Flyers overtime couple weeks ago or something, and one of the announcers said something that I haven't been able to stop thinking about every overtime game I've watched since. And he was basically just saying, and I know people have made this argument before, but he's basically saying that he prefers 4-on-4 because he thinks there's just way more action versus like the 3-on-3. We've all seen they loop back, they don't want to lose possession of the puck. But 4-on-4, he's like, it still opens up enough more ice from like 5-on-5. And yet it's still like fire wagon hockey of like going back and forth because you're a little more ballsy. You still have two guys back or whatever. And I think we've seen 3-on-3 get that way. Like if someone misses and then it can go back and forth a lot. But until you get one team to like make that first move, it can be kind of boring sometimes. So I'm just curious if you guys have an opinion on that.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. There's definitely times I know I'm thinking about one Caps game last year in particular where they played Jersey and the Caps didn't touch the puck in
Yeah.
overtime until there was about a minute to go.
Yep.
Just because Jersey won the faceoff and then just sat and,
Yeah.
looked for opportunities, circled back.
Yeah. And
Nothing
they
there,
probably didn't
circle
take a
back.
shot either.
They're trying to tire, the Caps, defenseman out, which
Or
I
catch them on
get.
a change. Like it's
Right.
way more strategic, but it's way less like gut or like action packed. And that's I think what a lot of people are arguing and what people want to see more of.
Yeah, because I think on 4-on-4, you can almost like you can actually forecheck. That's something that you wouldn't necessarily do
Yeah.
3-on-3. Like you're not going to go put the puck in the corner and then try and go get it and make a
Yeah.
play happen. Someone's going to hang on to it. You change two players and try and go as fast as you can.
Also in 4-on-4, you're almost never going to have the puck in your offensive zone and intentionally take it back over the blue line,
Yes.
like unless something weird happens. But
I would love to see the percent difference of games that end in overtime 3-on-3 versus when it used to be 4-on-4. Um,
yeah,
I I know that was a big thing. They were trying to reduce the amount of shootouts.
right.
Right.
Uh, I
I
don't
think
know.
initially maybe it helped with that, but I think the
Yeah,
guys have figured out now the 3-on-3. They're like, oh, don't take the shot unless you're pretty sure you've got a good chance, and don't like they all the teams do the other thing too, where it's like the Caps will put out Nick Dowd just to take the face off, and then if we win the face off, we're gonna take it all the way behind our own net, let Dowd get off, get a different guy out. Like it's just like, all right, like this is hockey. It's supposed to be fast, like.
yeah.
I don't know how much I like all the like strategy involved.
Yeah, I think it would be interesting if maybe they did, I don't know. I'm not advocating for this, but if they did some rule changes to 3-on-3, like I know people have said, as soon as you gain the zone once, you can now take it back to center ice or something like that. You don't have to do it again. Something like that. I don't think I would be that on board with. I've heard people say don't allow skaters behind the net on 3-on-3 to like just sit there with the puck and like try and change everything. So,
I mean, at
that's a
that
little
point,
gimmicky to me at that point. Let's
yeah,
just go back to 4-on-4. But
yeah, I don't think you can change the rules of like hockey.
right.
I personally love the 3-on-3. I'm just I know it can get a little
It's hit
tedious.
or miss. That's what I'll say about it.
It
But when
sucks
it
as a Pens
hits,
fan.
it's pretty sick. There
Yeah,
are some pretty fucking awesome 3-on-3s for sure.
You
yeah.
better hit the net 3-on-3. If you come down 2-on-1, it's like
Free
that thing
breakout.
cannot
Yeah.
go off the glass. That has to hit like piping out. It has to go off a sticking out, or it has to go in.
Yeah. Anyway, I
Agreed.
didn't want to derail too bad, but I thought that was interesting.
No, fair point. I'll give Marner one last little kudos and then we'll move on. Dude's playing unreal. Matthews has been out since November 3rd, and Mitch Marner is tearing it up. 74 career points in 60 career games without Matthews in the lineup. And in his last 5 games, 4 of them he's got multi-point efforts. He's got a goal and an assist, a goal and an assist. Then he got blanked against Ottawa. Goal and an assist, goal and an assist. He's tearing it up right now for the Leafs. So shout out to him. And Stolar's looked great as he has so far this season for the Leafs, which is pretty interesting. Moving on to a team who hasn't looked so great. Boys, our guys, our preseason guys, the guys that we looked so good in their uniforms for, the hat that I'm rocking that I got for free from Elwood's, the Chicago Blackhawks are a mess. And I know this was kind of expected, but I didn't think we would think it was going to be quite this bad. Dead last in the NHL.
Fine. I'll fly to Elwoods and we'll go to a Blackhawks game again. Twist my arm. No, yeah, it's rough. Um, I mean,
It's really
Taylor
rough.
Hall getting scratched. Wow. That shocked me. I know they're playing bad, but like
Yep.
first overall pick, dude like came there to help you rebuild and you health bomb him. I was shocked by that.
Well, and I know there's speculation too of like, is he going to get traded, deadline deal kind of guy? But I think I had seen reports too that I don't know if this was true, but something like he wanted to be there long term, or he was I thought I saw something about his camp being in favor of like signing a new deal with them and him being a part of that like Bedard system moving forward. But you never know.
Yeah, coming off that torn ACL, that's rough. I think I saw the quote on Twitter that he was even a little surprised at it. Just he didn't really have any inclination that that was coming his way. Just kind of came out of nowhere. Bedard though, man, I feel so bad because this kid's unreal and we've seen him live and he's so talented, but man, he's struggling. Only one assist in his last 5 games. Not good for my fantasy team, by the way. Took him in the third round, kind of regretting that. And so far this season, only 3 goals and 10 assists through 18 games. He had his homecoming in Vancouver on Saturday night. And after the game, he was just kind of really monotone. And this is a direct quote. Earlier this year, I was making a lot of plays, feeling pretty dangerous out there. Lately, I've been making less of an impact and not really making a difference. So hopefully, I can contribute more. But he's leading the team in points. He's 19. I don't know how much more he can do.
Yeah, they've got guys in the pipeline. This is going to take multiple years, in my opinion. Now, you've got Lev Shinov coming. Got to give credit where it's due. Frank Nazar looks unreal for the Rockford Ice Hogs. I'll give him that.
Yeah, like it does feel like there's some help on the way. I know he's been getting a lot of shit about his face-offs. He is atrocious at them. Not a big guy. So that's not going to help. I know the Biz and Frege panel were talking about should they move him to wing. Luke Gazdick, former guest of the show, was analyzing some of those numbers. There's just a lot of chatter in Chicago right now, all for the wrong reasons. I really do hope they can kind of turn it around a little bit.
Same, because with a player like that you want to see, more of constantly in prime time, you would like to see them actually play well. I feel like, especially as a center, adapting to face-offs in the NHL probably has to be one of, if not the hardest thing to do, just because those guys they're so quick, they're so strong, they've been doing it for probably 10 years, give or take. And I mean, just imagine like Bedard having to like go up against like Sid or Ryan O'Reilly or
Yeah.
a prime Nicholas Backstrom or something like that.
Yeah, it's a good point. I feel like it doesn't get talked about that much, but that you're absolutely right. That's got to be one of the hardest things to do for a number of reasons. But yeah, I don't fault him as much for that. I mean, it's definitely something he'll want to work on and practice and try and figure some stuff out. But yeah, it's interesting. I could see him maybe moving to wing for a little bit just to kind of give him a break or something.
Yeah, I mean, throw him top line wing and see what happens. One of the things I always look for in Chell franchise mode is face-off percentage down the middle. And I think once you sort that out, the team just gets nasty, like after 1 or 2 seasons. But
GM Manella, baby.
you got to do what you got to do, right?
Yeah, he's 36% on the draw since coming in, which is not ideal. I know Sid had a lot of face-off issues early on in his career. Now he's won the most face-offs in history, so you can turn that around. But yeah, not looking good for Chicago so far. Hoping they can turn it around here. Real quick, Nick, I want to toss this next segment off to you. Just talking a little bit more about Connor McMichael and then maybe even the Calder Trophy favorite, Logan Stankoven.
Definitely my Calder Trophy pick at this point. I think it's pretty hard to argue against, but let's start with Mikey. We've talked about how improved this guy is, but just want to give a little numbers breakdown here to really drive it home for people. So this guy has 12 goals and 19 points in 17 games so far this year, and his career high is 18 goals. So that's going to be blown away by the time we probably hit January. He is 1 goal behind the three-way tie for the league lead with Ovechkin, Reinhart, and Draisaitl. If you said that you picked that before the year, you are the biggest liar on the face of the earth. This guy currently leads the NHL in goals at 5-on-5. He's averaging 17 minutes per night playing in all situations, which is by far and away the highest ice time that this guy has ever got. And I love to see this in a Spencer Carberry system. I'm going to give the young guy responsibility. I'm going to put him out there. He's done so much in the offseason to work on finishing. That was the key, was this guy got so many good looks and just, pucks would go high, pucks would go right to the chest, pucks would go up in the netting, and the dude is finishing right now. It's amazing to see. And I mean, I said it earlier, it's hard to be mad at the fact that Ovi's tied for the league lead in goals and McMichael's technically tied for fourth with, I think, like 3 other guys.
Yeah, I mean, it's fantastic to see. I echo everything you said. I also want to call it back to when we had my dad on the show right before the season started. I think one of the questions I asked him was kind of what can we expect from Connor McMichael this year? Because I think a lot of people were looking for him to take a step forward, and I certainly thought he would, but I definitely could not have predicted this much of a jump. I mean, he just looks night and day, and I think I mentioned it earlier in the season, but he just looks like he's having a blast out there, and he looks like he's got no worries, no stress, just having fun, playing hockey, doing it well.
And it's crazy to think about the fact that the kid is still 23 years old. I mean, I feel like when we
Yeah.
look at his career,
And he just had a kid too.
right, he just had a kid. And I mean, I don't know how that dude's sleeping right now, but I think when you look at his development, that's the key. You look at a guy who comes out of one of, if not the greatest junior programs of all time in the London Knights. He gets a decent amount of games with the Caps and then sort of goes back to Hershey for almost 2 years, wins a Calder Cup. I don't think you can understate how much that experience meant to his development. It's clearly showed not only from a, skill level, but from a maturity and a focus level. It just seems like he's so dialed in right now and is one of, I would say, the three most important players so far for the Washington Capitals this year. Stankoven, this is, I mean, just put the money on it now, Calder. This is going to happen. He's leading the NHL rookies with 14 points. He's got 4 goals and 10 assists in 15 games. And by the way, he's pissed off about that. He's not happy with the amount of goals he has. Saw a great piece. I forget who wrote it. It was on NHL.com. But yeah, anyways, he had 6 goals, 8 assists in 24 regular season games last year. And then he was also, I think, a huge part of their playoff success. Whether it was intangibles that you don't necessarily see on the point scoring board, but this dude is, you could almost look at him and go, oh, he's a little bit undersized, compared to everyone else out there. I don't really expect much. And he is just an absolute junkyard dog on raw meat when it comes to getting pucks out of the corners. And he's so skilled that if you get him the puck anywhere in the slot or below the circles, he's going to finish 9 times out of 10. I mean, this to me is, this race is over. Calder is over. This guy's winning it.
It's hard
Ooh.
to believe that this
Ooh.
guy's like this is his rookie year because I feel like I'm already so familiar with him, like you said, from a little bit of time in the NHL last year and also just seeing him in the playoffs. He was totally noticeable for the Stars in the playoffs last year, definitely contributed. So like when he first said that, I was like, wait, is this really his rookie year? But
Right.
yeah, I mean he's playing really well, and I definitely think uh it's a good pick.
I don't
If
think
you
you can discredit how much this means to the Dallas Stars when you got a guy on an entry level deal who's 21 years old and who's this good for your team. I mean, when you think about the big contracts that team has, when you've got, Hintz, Haskin, and Robertson, Ben, Sagan, your goaltender. I mean,
Yeah.
that's probably what, 5, 7 year deals I just named right there.
And an aging core too. I mean, you're looking at
Right.
guys like Ben, Sagan, Duchesne, and you're asking yourself how much longer are these guys going to be able to contribute. And so
Right.
that's definitely it's an encouraging thing to have somebody that young that you think he can count on.
gonna have to pay Mr. Wyatt Johnston too. That's gonna be an interesting one.
Yep.
Real quick, just piggybacking off of Nick, if you are into our friends over at DraftKings Sportsbook, I got the Calder odds pulled up right here. If you like Stankoven, decent price right now. They've got Mitchkov as the favorite at plus 110 and then Stankoven at plus 180. After that, it drops off a lot, but those two are the top two horses in the race.
Yeah, obviously it's a long season. We got a lot of hockey left. I think he's only going to increase as this season goes on and he gets more comfortable. And I think having that last, 24 games last year was huge for him. I thought that was a great move for them to let's burn a year off the ELC. Let's give the kid a shot. And I think he was absolutely worth it.
Agreed. All right, we're going to move on to the gambling and fantasy hockey portion of the episode. And after that, we'll do trivia and wrap up. Before we get into this, just a reminder, this segment is brought to you by Prop Tracker. Prop Tracker is your home for player prop research and finding outlier bets for NHL, NBA, NFL, and more. Once you find a bet you like, start tracking it to get notified on its progress, like shots, rebounds, or receptions. Go to proptrackerapp.com/emptybetters to try a free month of the Android or iOS app. We're tweeting the link all the time too, so that way you guys don't have to keep spelling that out. Gonna move through this relatively quick. We have a good friend of the show. His name's Marty Huff, and he is
We
a new
do.
hockey fan. And Marty Huff listens to every episode, so I know he'll appreciate this. You gotta chill with the amount of text messages that we are getting when Marty Natchez gets a point. He's very good. We understand. So Canes fans don't like when you say they don't have a superstar. We learned our lesson last week,
We
okay? He
did.
is he is playing really, 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 really well. I will admit. He had a 4-point game last night on Sunday against the St. Louis Blues, 3 assists and a goal. He's on a 13-game point streak. He's the fastest player in Carolina history to hit 30 points in a season. He beat Eric Stahl by 1 game, and he is third in the NHL in points right now. He's automatic. I know Puck Picks has been tweeting this a lot, but for him to get an assist like every night, it's usually between like plus 110 and minus 120. Like
That's free money.
this guy's ripping it up right now. So definitely take a look at that.
I think this is great. This is sort of what we all thought Natchez was going to be when they drafted him. Sort of this. I think a good comparison would be maybe Mikko Rantanen with a little bit more speed. A guy who's big,
Yeah.
power forward, but can absolutely shoot the lights out and is incredibly skilled. So it took a little while to develop in that Carolina system, and clearly it's paying off for him right now.
He's crafty, man. I mean, this is a Czech comparison, obviously, but like he reminds me of a faster version of Krejci a little bit.
Yeah.
Got that crafty hands, head bobs. Not
Yeah.
maybe like he doesn't look like he's flying, but he is. Like that's
Yeah.
the crazy part.
It's very effortless with him.
So Marty Natchez assist, add that to the parlay on a daily. Uh, the Pittsburgh Penguins wouldn't be an episode if I didn't talk about them, right? Little tidbit here. They're very good against teams that are bad. So against teams that are on pace for fewer than 80 points this year, they are 6-1-1. And then their record against teams who are on pace for more than 80 points this year, they are 1-9-2. Let's just call it 1-11.
And that one is against the Caps, isn't it?
It is. Yes, thank you for the reminder. Thank you for making me smile today. I needed that. They have also, the Penguins, that is, have blown a 2-goal lead 7 times through 20 games this season. So live bets are very real against this team. Let's just keep it at that. They did it against the fucking Sharks on Saturday. They won the game in a shootout. They were up 3-0, and I wasn't even happy that they won because they blew the fucking 3-0 lead.
The Sharks keep doing that. They keep finding a way to
Yeah.
get they keep finding a way to get like 1 or sometimes 2 points out of games that they were totally getting dogged in early on. They're sneaky.
Yeah, I think that's kind of a huge reason why they're not dead last, and Chicago is, to be honest. But
Yeah. No, they've figured, we've talked about it, but they've figured it out a little bit from an offensive perspective. They can score goals, but
you know who they just called back up today?
Askarov.
Yep.
yeah, I saw that. Yep.
Yep.
Maybe
So keep-
after their next shootout win, he'll bring back the net push-up celebration.
Yeah, a little incline bench action in the crease. But yeah, keep an eye on the Sharks with a Askarov coming up. I've got a Zetterland. I'm going to say that wrong. Zetterland
No, you
prop
got it.
for tonight. So they're fun to watch. Celebrini coming back from injury. They're rolling a little bit.
Yeah, they are fun. Toffoli, all the Lunds, Granlund, Eklund,
Yeah.
Zetterlund.
All the Lunds.
Korblund,
Yeah.
For fantasy purposes, everybody's league's different. We've got a big league. So maybe if you're in a smaller league, some of these guys are available, but Dustin Wolf for the Calgary Flames, he's been really good this season. He's got numbers that are better than Igor in terms of goals against and save percentage, and he's won 3 of his last 5. Pesky effort here. Jonathan Quick, who single-handedly ruined my fantasy week this past Sunday with a shutout against the Kraken. He's 4-0 in the season. He's got under a 1.0 goals against, a 970 save percentage, consecutive shutouts, and he hasn't been scored on in 130 minutes. It's fucked up.
That's wild.
I'm kicking myself because I had an opportunity to snag this guy off waivers a couple weeks ago, and I just didn't do it because I was like, the problem is he's only going to start like once every like 2 weeks.
It's the
But-
Eric Comrie situation.
And then I freaking grabbed Comrie, and it was the one game the Jets have lost in the last like month, of course. But yeah, it's one of those things where fantasy managers, you got to weigh the benefit of is it worth a roster spot for that one gem of a game you might get every 2 weeks? Ask
Right.
yourself.
Harry, you nailed it earlier. Like our league's waiver wire is not great. There's not really a lot
Especially
of
for goalies.
yeah, I mean,
Holy
there's
cow.
basically nothing left on
It's
it. So
like
it's like
you
if
can
you
have
didn't,
Elvis Lincolns if you want, and that's
yeah,
about it.
you're like, I really don't, but
Yeah, it's I was up by 16 points going into Sunday, and Jonathan Quick had a shutout against the Kraken, and that just there were some other things too, but that just ruined me. It was pretty frustrating. And then one last guy, and we'll get to trivia. Eric Robinson. Listen, I watch a lot of hockey. Never heard of this guy before, but he's been around for a little bit. Undrafted 29-year-old. Couple brief stints in CBJ in Buffalo. I think he was in Buffalo last year. Somehow found his way into the Hurricanes. And this guy's playing pretty well. 5 points in his last 5 games. He's got 2 goals in that span, 5 goals in the season. Solid depth move for the Canes here.
yeah, that's a great pickup for them. And you do always, I know it's the Canes, and we always love to, shit on the Canes, but you do love seeing these undrafted guys make the league and make a splash. It's such a good feeling.
Oh, so now they do have a superstar, Eric Robinson.
Yes, indeed. Kane's
Sweet.
Twitter has been very active so far. I saw a lot today about some of the moves Eric Tulsky had to make in the offseason. And I'm pretty sure, if I'm remembering this right, he got thrown into the role because Waddell left all of a sudden, I believe.
Correct.
And he had to let Gensel go. And then he gets the Nature's deal done, and that looks great so far. And then they got this guy. I mean, gotta tip your cap to Tulsky here. But all right. You guys ready for trivia? And then we'll get on out of
Yeesh.
here. All right. If you've seen this, it'll ruin it. This trivia is brought to us today by J Fresh Hockey on Twitter. So if you guys haven't been stalking him today, maybe you won't know it. But he tweeted a graphic of all the number one overall picks that Sidney Crosby has played throughout his career. He has played against 37 first overall picks in his career. It's a long list. There is only one first overall pick since 1987 that Sidney Crosby has not scored a point against. Can you name who that is?
Like against that player's team.
Yeah, so in a
Okay.
head-to-head matchup where that person was that first overall pick is starting it and Sid's playing, they're playing head-to-head.
Okay.
There's one first overall pick since 1987 that Sid does not have a point against. Every single other one he's got it.
All right, so you guys just played the Sharks, so I'm guessing it's not Macklin.
It is not Macklin. So this goes you got to put on your history cap here.
We know
Okay.
it's not Ovi.
It's definitely not Obi.
Right.
It's probably not McKinnon, and it's probably not Matthews.
It's not them.
It's from back in the. Okay, hold on. Let me think.
Now, keep in mind, like this person could or could not be drafted before or after Sid. It's not all just
Yeah.
after. It could
Okay.
be.
Yeah.
It could be before.
Do you know the year that this person was drafted?
You said since 1987. That's the cutoff.
Since 1987.
Okay,
I will
and-
look up the year real quick.
Okay.
To be clear, though, so like he would have had to play. I think you already said this, but I just want to make sure I understand. He would have had to play a game against this team.
Mhm. With
That first
person.
overall draft pick is playing in the game, and
on the opposite team.
And Crosby didn't get a point.
Correct. It's
So
only
this has to
happened
be
once.
early, right? Otherwise, like, because if it was like recent, he would have
Nick,
ended
it's
up
gotta
playing
be-
them again.
I think it's got to be one of the busts. It's got to be like somebody who was a bust.
Okay.
Because like the sheer number of games, I bet he only played him like twice or once or something.
Okay.
There are some wild names on here, by the way.
Am I
Yeah.
on the right track with that, Harry? Somebody who was kind of a bust, maybe.
Yeah. There are some wild names. I didn't realize he put the list in order. So I've got every first overall pick since 1987 in front of my face. And it's
Okay.
insane.
So, Mac, let's go with your theory here. So, who are the biggest busts you can think of? I've got two.
Um, Yeah, I can think of a few. Like Patrick Stefan.
Patrick Stefan's a good one. I was gonna go Yakupov.
Okay, Patrick Stefan is on the list, but Crosby got a point against him.
Wow.
Nail Yakupov is also on the list. Crosby had 2 points against him in his career.
What about what's his name? Dag
Alex
Daigle.
Daigle.
Yeah.
Alex Daigle is the correct answer.
Is that it? Let's go.
He
Let's
is-
What a pull.
go.
He is
How
the
many times did he play him? Do you know that?
So he played Alex Daigle one time in his career. Alex Daigle had 2 points in that game, and Sidney Crosby had 0.
And
That
that
is
was
insane.
his last season in the show, right?
I believe so. If my memory's
Probably.
right, I think he played for the Devils.
I'm gonna look up this
Drafted
list
by
now.
the Sens. I know that. I know the draft pick
Oh.
was by the
Might
Senators.
have been the Senators. It had to be like that '05 rookie year.
Right.
Some absolutely wild
Dig
names.
was not, or wait, what year was Dig drafted? 93.
93. So I'll give you some other names just for the listeners' shits and gigs. Couple of names where he only had like 1 or 2 points in his whole career.
Mhm.
Pierre Turgeon, only 1 point in one game. Eric Lindros, he played against Lindros. It's crazy.
That is insane.
2 points in one game. Daigle, he had the one game. Patrick Stefan, he played against him 4 times. Then you got the LeCavaliers, Kovalchuk, Nash, Johnson, Stamkos, Tavares.
I always forget that Roman Hammerlick was a first overall draft pick.
Honestly, same with Eric Johnson. I'm like, what the
Yep.
hell?
Yeah.
Or even
No
like
disrespect, Eric. We'd love to have
or
you on the show. But
even like Brian Berard.
yeah, that's a good one.
That's a crazy one. 1995.
That is a great trivia question. Thank you, Jay Fresh, for pulling that graphic. It
That was
pretty funny.
good. That was
Roman
a fun one.
Hammerlick is crazy, though.
Yeah.
I
He
had a
should-
feeling you guys would get that.
He should have his first overall pick status removed from what another first overall pick did to him with a
Yeah.
bounce pass to himself off the boards in a Caps
Mhm.
Habs game.
Mm-hmm.
Iconic goal. But all right. That will wrap up this episode unless you guys got any other notes you want to share.
I'm cool.
I'm good.
Go to the Go to the YouTube channel. Hit the subscribe button. Helps us out a lot. Would really appreciate it. Got a lot of content coming out over there in the coming weeks, especially ahead of the Four Nations tournament and rosters being announced in early December.
Absolutely. Definitely got some college stuff coming at you guys too.
Alrighty, well, that'll wrap it up from us. Have a good week, everybody. Appreciate the love and support as always. And without further ado,
Class dismissed.